Hey there, everybody. Today we are here in Aveiro, Portugal, and we're going to show you something that might be the future of small to medium scale frame building. We're at a place called Vello Octopus that has an interesting slogan on their door that says robots, builders, painters, and cyclists. And I think what's behind here could really shake up how small scale frame building happens. So are you guys ready? It's going to be really cool. Let's go check it out. So here it is. We've got our friend Pedro over here. And it looks like a regular looking bike frame building shop from the outside. You've got your bike frames, you've got your fork jig over here, and you've got a frame jig over here. And back here we've got another frame jig, and this is Paul. Hi, Paul. But where it gets super interesting and what's really unique about this place that I think could be a potential game changer for frame building is this over here. And we've got Ricardo to show us what it is. You've seen lots of our frame shop visits, and usually one piece of machinery that you'll see around is a big mill, and that's used to kind of cut the tubes into shape, get them ready to be fit together. This is not a mill. This is a robot arm, and it has so much potential to really make frame building a lot more efficient, especially for small scale builder. Ricardo, you're going to show us it cutting a tube, maybe? Yeah. Okay. So over here we've got a seat tube, and Ricardo has programmed the cuts that the machine's going to make. So, you know, typically on a bicycle, like different tubes intersect at different angles, and you have to make those cuts. Usually, the old school way is you would put it in the mill, and then you have hole saws, and you got to adjust it. And the problem with that, it's very slow. You have to adjust for every cut. And if you make one small error, it just ruins the whole tube. What Ricardo has done has programmed all the cuts into the machine with some magic code, and it's gonna do some cutting. All right. Yeah, action. Pedro, one of the partners at Vello Octopus, is working on a PhD on microfactories and sees this as a modern tool for frame builders, something in between the romantic vision of a single builder and a fully automated factory. By automating the mitered cuts, it speeds up the process and minimizes errors. The frame builder will still do the final welding and adjustments, but the grunt work is made a lot easier. This has potentially huge implications. Small frame shops can increase capacity. Bike designers could send designs to localized builders for production. Pedro says when bikes are ordered from Asia, they're paying mostly for air, the freight fees. You could ship 20 bikes worth of tubing in a single bike box. You could empower bike shops to manufacture their own in-house brands by removing the cost and space of mills. Since welding as a general trade is more widespread and common than cutting tubes for a bike. Just imagine ordering a set of pre-cut tubes and building your own bike. The possibilities are really exciting. Pedro envisions this as a tool to kickstart microfactories and a sort of decentralized bike fabrication. So what did it do? It looks like it cut out holes for bottle boss. Yes. And that first cut was to cut off extra material, and then the second cut was to
the metering.
To miter the tube. And then what did it do at the end? That's just
This is for the seat clamp.
Oh, okay. So for a seat clamp hole. So it did it all in one operation. If you're building this traditionally with a mill or other tools, you know, you have to reposition every time, and there's lots of like potential for misalignment, bumping things by accident, and everything screws up. That's pretty cool. How long, let's say you programmed an entire bicycle's worth of tubes. How long would that cutting operation take? 2 minutes per tube. Okay, cool. So 2 minutes per tube, approximately, which is way faster, I think, than if you're constantly adjusting the tooling. How much finishing work does someone have to do to the cut before they can weld or braze? Or is it pretty good to go? You could just start welding?
You need to clean the cut.
Okay. So after cutting, you know, the builder would take this, you know, separate the pieces and then do some cleaning and prep it for the brazing or the TIG welding. So this is kind of an example of like the finishing work you would do after the cut. Just work it down so it's a little smoother, but it's very minimal. Oh, it's actually really smooth. That didn't take very long. Yeah. Yeah, the burr's almost completely gone. Yeah, and just like that, it's ready to be thrown on the jig over here. tack welded, make your adjustments, and then do the full-on brazing or TIG welding. All right, so looking at this frame on the jig, this was cut by the machine, and Pedro was just telling me that it's actually a little bit more complicated sometimes than it looks. So what's interesting is like the amount of laser power, because it is a laser that cuts this, is different to this. So they have to adjust the machine per cut in the single process. So there is like this kind of dance of balancing different parameters. They're still figuring it out, but they've got it working. And yeah, it's really exciting. So this is why I think this could be a potential game changer. So one reason they're using the robot arm for cutting, when I was chatting with them, is it's between the process of, welding a frame and cutting a frame, or cutting the tube. The cutting part actually takes the most amount of time. So they're trying to optimize, or they're trying to minimize the amount of manual labor and tool setting in the process. It's much quicker to tack and weld a frame than to do all these miter cuts. So that's why they chose to build the machine around that operation. The reason why this is like a complete game changer is, if you're a small shop, it enables small frame builders to do series runs because it takes out so much work. So I was chatting with them and they see all sorts of applications for this. So imagine ordering, a frame from your favorite builder. They can send the parts to a shop, the tubes get pre-cut, and it can be built locally by a frame builder in your town or in your area. So it's an interesting way of distributing the work, medium-sized production. It's almost as if this is to frame building as like Thingiverse is to 3D printing. Not quite like a one-on-one analogy, but there is potential there. Another interesting application could be like if you like the idea of building your own frame, but hate the idea of cutting tubes and filing, you could order like a bike in a box and shows up, and you get to do the fun, sexy part of brazing and welding the frame. And just tons of applications. If you're a bike shop and you have someone that welds, you could do your own in-house bike brand and just have the tubes pre-cut, and you don't have to wheel in like 2 tons of mill. Anyways, super sneak peek at what Vello Octopus is up to. They're going to start using this process in some series runs for a couple brands. I can't really disclose them just yet, but I think this in the future could really revolutionize frame building at the smaller to mid-size scale. If you guys thought this video was interesting, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow Vello Octopus to keep up to date with how this technology is progressing and all the cool things they're going to do with it. And as always, keep the supple side down.